Back in the day, traveling Kumusha was a whole experience. The smell of mazai akabikwa, the sound of sunkura blaring from the speakers, and the colorful names of buses lined up: Mhunga, Kukura Kurerwa, Zupko, Kumukira, and a lot more others that you remember. But for me, I was Team Mhunga. That eagle on the side of the bus made me dream of owning my own fleet one day. But what happened to those giants of the road? In Zimbabwe, grow it as big as possible as the heydays where we used to have companies like Kukura Kurerwa. And also in this video, I'll be doing a case study on Kukura Kurerwa. So stay tuned as we explore how to create a good big transport business in Zimbabwe. I'll also explain some of the mistakes to avoid and some of the channels to follow and the ways that you can use to innovate so that your company grows bigger. In this bus, let's travel together. Today, let's talk about how to build a successful transport business. And to do that, we are going to take a deep dive into a true Zimbabwean story, the rise and fall of Kukura Kurerwa, a bus company, private limited. Disclaimer, this doesn't represent in any way any bus company or Kukura Kurerwa. We just use Kukura Kurerwa as a case study based on a few newspaper articles and information readily available to anyone. Kukura Kurerwa was once the definition of luxury. It was the VIP experience of a Zimbabwean road traveler, but now it has been auctioned, and around the 2022 to 2021, if I'm not mistaken, all their assets were going under the hammer and the company went under liquidation. It was estimated and believed that it had a debt over 2 million. It went on to join great giants, fallen giants, like the likes of Grammar Records, Faro Marketing, etc. But there are lessons here, big ones, and if you are planning to start or grow your transport business, you need to pay attention. Okay, before we go to the lessons, you know, growing up in Zimbabwe, especially in the rural areas, success was measured especially if one buys a bus. Ndikatenga bus ndinonzi ndafuma. When I still remember one guy who was doing gold panning in our rural areas, after he had gotten a big chunk of gold by luck, a big nugget, almost a kg, the thing that he did after doing all the shenanigans of taking $100 bill and putting tobacco within it so that he can roll for a smoke. He was famous for that. He did that at a bus rank where he used that $100 bill to roll a smoke, and he smoked it until he finished. After that, his fame went on. Then with all that money, the most tangible asset he thought of was buying a bus. And unfortunately, during his era, buses were no longer that vibrant. More so, the type of coach he chose, he went on to choose the old school AVM bus. And I'm telling you, that company did not last for more than 2 years. When I was coming from college, I saw that same bus on top of big stones, with no wheels and with no hope. And I knew that what took others had also befallen him, and the bus and the money was no more. I know of a story of, again, one guy. You know, gold, there's plenty of gold in Zimbabwe. If you're interested in opening a gold mine, please check my video here. I did a video about how to start a gold mine. So the gold fortune knocked at his door. That guy, I can't disclose his name, he was going by the name Dewa. And he bought a fleet of minibuses or Makombi. After starting that business, he had almost 10 combis at one point that were roaming the streets. And with bad management, really not even bad luck, before a year, all those taxis, some had been involved in accidents, some had been damaged beyond repair, and some had been sold because of debt. Okay, let's go deep into the video. So all this highlights that though owning a bus or owning a vehicle in Zimbabwe, especially a transportation vehicle, is a symbol of success, but it needs real care and diligence so that you avoid the mistakes that others have done. In most cases, you will see that there are thriving companies. I've seen companies that are thriving since the time of the old heroes, Kukura Kurerwa and the Mhungas. They are still holding their ground. The likes of, consider the likes of, if you go to Mashingo, there is a company called Joma. They are still holding their ground and they are still moving. If you go to Shavane, there is the likes of Makwenda. They are still doing well. They are still doing quite well because of good management principles. Those are the ones that we're going to discuss today. Okay. Recently, there's been a company also, which is, I believe, is doing well, fairly well, called Africa. And the terrain is a bit different now. What are the challenges, or what are the advantages of owning a transport business in Zimbabwe? Transport is very fast. In most cases, if well structured, it is high turnover. And sure you receive sure money. And the disadvantages are, if not well planned, really, it's a troublesome business. You can enjoy the fame, you can enjoy the status, but if you don't do it well, it will not end well. You join the fallen heroes of the likes of Kukura Kurerwa. Let's then lean in with the Kukura Kurerwa. What would you learn from the fall of Kukura Kurerwa? Cash is king in the transport business. Public transport is a cash business. Customers pay upfront, no credit terms. So how did Kukura Kurerwa end up broke? Simple cash mismanagement. You must track every dollar. A budget for fuel, repairs, permits, salaries, and save for emergencies. Forget profits for now. If you can't maintain a positive cash flow, your business dies. Those are some of the nitty-gritties people really don't take care of. Management of cash flow. Cash flow management is very critical in running a business. I've had the privilege of using well-established companies like your Intercape, where I've seen that they really are thorough in regards to cash flow management. You know, back in the days, we used to have bus inspectors. Those are still really important these days. There is a trend nowadays which goes by this way. If you buy a vehicle, you obviously give it to a driver and a conductor. And the norm, you know, corruption is really eating the fabric of our society. The norm nowadays is that whereby they believe that they have to steal from you. That's the way they make money. It's actually fashionable for your conductor and your driver to steal some monies from you. So as a transport owner or as an owner, you must, unfortunately, most of you might be not on the ground, but you must be on the ground. You must have had a ground experience, whereby you know that on a good day, we'll get this much. On a bad day, we'll get this much. Try also to utilize things like trackers. Now, Econet is a good tracker. I'm not an affiliate in any way with them, but try to use technology to track the mileage. Why? Because even if they see that you are tracking their mileage, they might. If they see that you are tracking cash flow really well, They might get you by doing more extra trips and being hired whilst you are not there, and they enjoy the money. And whilst you are the one who is liable for repairs. In most cases, what kills these businesses is repairs. So the other issue is utilize things like technology. Trackers, they have a first-hand experience. On a good day, we do this much. On a bad day, we do this much. I'll give you a pro tip if you watch this video till the end, which I believe that's cornerstone to transport. The second thing, fuel. You see, you must have sufficient budget whereby your fuel is only, your vehicles are only refueled maybe at least twice. Where they are from point A to point B, if it's a long distance, maybe one refuel in the middle. And make sure you try, as always, to do full tanks and to have a very what do you call, to have a certain amount which you know that this one goes to fuel for all the trips or the routes. In most cases, if it's a bus company, consider even locking fuel tanks so that no one can siphon fuel out, because if they don't get you in stealing money, they can also steal your fuel and sell it. So you must be very cautious about that. Also, repairs are really important. You will see that big companies, unfortunately, not all of us have the privilege of starting big. Big companies, they have an in-house repair facility or mechanics who are in-house, who get a monthly salary. Why? Because hiring freelancers can be costly in the long run. Also, especially navigating terrain like Zimbabwe, there are a lot of hidden fees that you must pay. You have your route permit, you have your fitness tests, you have maybe your normal registration. So all those must be factored in. The other thing, if you want, depending with your routes and how much you are getting, if it's for a smaller transport company, you might consider a commission with your employees. That will really motivate them to work as hard as they can, and it's the popular model where you share a certain percentage. However, that's also a recipe for disaster. While at least they are trying to meet the target, they might sometimes end up damaging your vehicles. They might end up even in accidents. Then saving for emergencies. So in most cases, when you are starting out, really, there's nothing for you as an owner. You have to have sufficient money for emergencies, sufficient money for repairs. Things like tires, they must have a time where repairs are done, despite of the fact that do they have punctures or not. All those things must be there in time. So let's then go to the KK story. As we conclude, I don't want to make this video long. Really. Innovate or die. Innovation is king. Kukura Kurerwa failed to evolve. While competition upgraded, they stayed the same. No diversification, no digital transformation, nothing. While the likes of Mhunga began to operate cross-border, the likes of those are the old bus companies that are still in operation. The likes of Tom's Motorways diversified and saw that local had no more punch. They then innovated and started cross-border and even registering their fleet outside Zimbabwe. Those were some of the innovative ways to which some companies did. Imagine if they had introduced things like TV ads inside buses, or expanded into logistics or tracking. Or so they didn't evolve with time. Another thing is a succession plan. When the founder passed away on the business and he passed it to his son, it was too late. That had already swallowed the company. A business should outlive its owner. That's the core of this channel. We want to build businesses that outlive their owners. Let's talk about the harsh realities of the transport business in Zimbabwe and many parts of Africa. Police roadblocks on every stretch of the highway. really that really eats into your core revenue. The flooding of ex-Japanese vehicles flooding the market, which are cheaper and faster transport alternatives for people. If you would buy a bigger vehicle, you will discover that in most cases it will be outclassed by smaller vehicles, right? Because people want to go quick. But there are ways to innovate, obviously, around that. Cheaper fares, good customer care, good time management, and many other things. Fuel shortages, increased costs and predictable maintenance issues. You will need to factor all these into your pricing, your routes, your cash reserves. It's not just about buying buses, it's about navigating a hostile environment. If you are serious about starting a transport business, here's your action plan. Start small but smart. Even one vehicle, it will run properly and grow into a fleet. Pay your team well, invest in loyalty, especially having loyal members that serve in your company for quite a long time is a commendable thing. Track your cash daily, invest in proper accounting practices, reinvest your profits. Don't start buying flashy things too early. Innovate constantly. Try branded screens, loyalty programs, and niche routes. Have a legal and financial buffer. Avoid falling into debt traps. Build relationships with your drivers, regulators, especially the police, mechanics, etc. As I close, the dream is still alive. I never got to work for Mhunga, but I am on the road to help others build their own transportation brands. Let Kukura Kurerwa story be your guide. Learn their rise, respect their fall, use it to fuel your own journey. If you found value in this video, please don't hesitate to like, share, and drop a comment below on your transport dreams. Subscribe. I do these videos mostly for subscription. If you subscribe to this channel, I'll be happy. And that's the biggest motive. Please, we are rushing to 100. It's still far from now. I hope you are the 100th person. Till next time, see you.